So as we head to a close of 2024, I just wanted to show my appreciation to all of you guys that have subscribed, followed, and really interacted with me in my journey since 2020. The homestead has grown nearly 5 times bigger than it did. We started off with 2 raised beds right where I'm standing now, and we have made so many mistakes, but we have also gained so much knowledge and experience, and that's from me learning from you guys. But in today's video, I just want to show you the homestead. I also want to take you from how I started in 2020 to now 2024, and as we come to a close of 2024 and go into 2025, I just wanted to break down all my cons and pros around the homestead. So in 2020, it was around about February, we started 2 raised beds right here. Excuse the noise from next door. The neighbors are having a pool party. It is really hot here, so you will hear them in the background. But let's go back to 2020. 2 raised beds here, they were doing amazingly. Added a 3rd one, and I just grew things like peppers and tomato and some herbs around it. I even tried a watermelon, and it was a small little watermelon, very juicy. I unfortunately started the journey a little bit late because February is literally the middle of summer in South Africa, and by the time everything was established and ripe, it was time for it to die down and for the winter garden to start. So it was a very short period, but in that time I actually learned quite a lot. We then moved the raised beds across to that area, and the reason being is we thought it could be just closer to the kitchen, which is right there, and so we made a U-shape homestead in that small little corner, and it didn't do very well. We have a tree over there that loves to lose a lot of flowers and leaves, and everything was just getting covered in mulch. But also the time of day was morning sun, and then when the sun flipped over to that side, it got shade, so the things didn't really do very well over there. Unfortunately, we had to move it the next year, and we moved it back here. We decided to go against this wall, and we only had these raised beds. I think there was 5 raised beds there. It did extremely well, and also we decided to then make a foundation, because in the future we actually want to make it all brick, so that we don't have to depend on the wood and replacing it when it does decide to give up on us. So that is what we've done at the bottom, and we will maybe this winter start building slowly a bed by bed, so that the soil also doesn't run out like it does, and we lose a lot of soil because it's not flush. So that is something in the future, but we had 5 raised beds along this wall, and we just kept on adding. And because last year it did extremely well, what we decided to do is leave it here, extend it, and maybe bring some raised beds this side, and it actually did very well. While we were hesitant about doing the raised beds on this side was because we had already planted 2 pomegranates and a lemon tree, and we had already moved this lemon tree in 2020 to accommodate the raised beds. So the lemon tree was a little bit over there, and we moved it so that we could accommodate the raised beds. But in 2021, when we did move it, the lemon tree took a really bad hit, and it looked like it had died. But I was like, just leave it in the ground, it will come back, and this year it did. So that was it's nearly 3 years of it trying to establish itself and get back to growing. And even though it is in the middle of the walkway, we're definitely not moving this, and we'll just make sure we maintain it so that we can walk through the entrance. But we've had to obviously try and work around what we have here, and so you'll see that I'll keep cutting the branches off the 2 pomegranate trees here, and that's fine because they are established, they're doing very well, and they are definitely not going to be moved. That was the new addition, was adding the middle beds, and with doing that we decided to also make some entries and arches, because the arches was the most important thing from the beginning of my plan. So in 2024, with adding some more raised beds and the arches, we've now got a pretty good established little homestead, even though that we always try to find more space because we can hardly find space to do our peppers and more tomatoes. We try and do with what we've got in this little space. And we've also got our fruit trees. So I've had to bring the fruit trees here because over there we do have a swimming pool now, which we are busy making a deck and that for. But this is where the magic absolutely happens. And sometimes when you don't have space, you go and use things like fabric bags or little containers or big containers to grow some of your stuff. Start at the very end of the homestead, and turmeric is a definite yes. So last year the turmeric grew, but when I harvested it was really sad. There was hardly any turmeric at the bottom, but now I'm fertilizing it. It's got really good drainage soil. I expect a beautiful harvest next year. The same as the ginger. Definitely grow ginger every single year because my ginger harvest last year was amazing. Growing anything would be watermelons. Even though the watermelon seemed so small, it's just amazing when you open it up and you just taste these juicy melons. So definitely worth growing. Figs is also another thing. We've just harvested a fig and gave it a taste test, and a bird has just recently come to enjoy this because this was not open like this. So they have now discovered my figs. This has literally happened in the last hour, but let them enjoy that. I'm going to have to cover the rest of my figs, but figs is a definite yes. I do have a few varieties of figs in the garden. Now swing over here. Sweet potatoes. My first year growing sweet potatoes. In the beginning of, I think, July, August, maybe September, I grew some sweet potatoes in one of the beds here, and because I was so new at growing it, I thought it was the wrong season, so I decided just to pull it all out, only to find that I had beautiful purple sweet potatoes about that big. My garden boy took it all, but now you can see that I've got all my sweet potatoes here, and I'm super excited. So this is my first try, and I'm hoping that it's a good try so I can do it next year. Peppers and chilies are always a yes in my garden because I make chili sauce and I do sell them, so that is a yes for me. Loofah is my very first time growing loofahs here, and it is just taking off, so can't comment on the loofah yet. Got 2 loofahs on each side of the trellis. Peppers, as I say, is a definite yes. Unfortunately, we are having a problem with the zucchinis, and it's not just me, it's my neighbor as well. You see, these were doing actually very well. about 2 days ago, and they get to that size and they dry out, or something happens and they just fall off and they don't grow beyond that. I've got a few golden zucchinis on this one, so I'm hoping they take. I've got one harvest off of that, but zucchini is a big yes in our homestead, but not having any luck with zucchinis this year. A definite yes is cucumbers. So last year I grew my very first cucumber, and I think I got 2 cucumbers off the vine. I think I grew it too late in the season. This year I grew my cucumbers very early, and this is a pickled variety. And if you've not watched me harvest the pickled cucumbers and jar them to make gherkins, go watch this video because it's definitely worth it. And I would probably give this another day or 2, harvest it and pickle it. I love pickled gherkins, and that is a definite yes. We swing around. I got the burpless cucumber. It's more a salad cucumber, but I do use it as a pickled cucumber. I've already made 2 jars of pickled cucumbers, and you can just see that this guy is taken off. There's so many cucumbers on here, so I look forward to harvesting these guys. So cucumber is a definite yes. We always grow kale, and you can see how huge the kales are. They are massive. With the sunflowers, they're nearly the same height as the sunflowers. The sunflowers just go up and up and up like Jack and the Beanstalk. But kale is a definite yes, and we're trying the blue variety. So kale and pak choy and spinach, and that we use mostly for feeding our animals. Gooseberries is a definite yes in our garden. We have no choice. It just pops up everywhere. And the chickens, when they come and roam the back garden, they tend to know what this is, and you'll just see husks everywhere because they've gone and helped themselves. In this bed, I had my beans, so that is probably my very first no. So with the beans, I've not had a good experience. It was my second year growing beans, and I decided to go away from the variety that I actually planted last season, which was the zebra molly beans. And this year I decided to go different varieties of bush beans, climbing beans, peas, and I'll just tell you that I've not really had a good experience. And it doesn't mean that I'm not going to do it again next season. I'm going to now do my research, what I can do with beans and peas. I kind of know what to do with it, but it's actually harvesting it on time before it dries out. And that's, I think, the main thing is that my beans went and dried out. Also the pea pods dried out. Beans is a very new subject to me, and this is me asking you guys, tell me how to grow beans. They were quite cool because I let them train in. You can see that I think these are the peas. Yeah, the peas are still giving me some stuff, but you can see over here they've dried out, and I've got some dried out peas in some pods. So do I take it and save them and then plant them next year, or can I cook these? I don't know. If I had to choose, I wouldn't grow peas and beans again. I would maybe do the molly beans because I'm used to that. But yeah, that was a failure in my books this season, and I'm hoping it will not be a failure next season. Okay, another yes would be tomatoes. So I actually need to water these guys. They don't look too good. These are the new varieties I put in, but tomatoes are doing absolutely amazing, and we seem to be harvesting like nearly every single day, and we have so many different varieties of tomatoes. So we've got jam tomatoes, sandwich tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, medium tomatoes, small tomatoes, and they are absolutely doing amazing. Tomatoes are a definite yes. There's something that I don't have in this bed anymore, which is a failure, was my cabbage. Besides the chickens always picking at them, geez, I had so much aphids on them, and there was something eating them, and at the end of the day they would fall sideways, and I just really didn't have a good experience. Some more chilies and peppers, more herbs, and bok choy. So herbs are definitely yes on my list. I definitely will grow herbs, and since I've done this bed, it has really lushed out and starting to fill out. The oreganos are starting to creep. The thyme is happy. There's some thyme at the back there. So this 3 beds that I've done, absolutely amazing. The plum is starting to get bigger, which is nice. I'm going to have to start putting bags over the plums soon, and I think we got 4 or 5 plums off this tree. First year with plums growing. Nectarine is a definite yes, but unfortunately they, because of all the rain we've had, are starting to rot. So when I do get to harvest some of it, they're still a little bit hard, or they just fall off and they start rotting like that. So this year has been extremely challenging with the rain. So as I say, we come to another no, and that is only because if you walk over here, you have all my fruit trees, and with my fruit trees, they have not done well at all. My cherry was going to give me some cherries. It is the 3rd year, and they say roughly between the 3rd and the 4th year you will get cherries, and the cherries dried up and didn't make it. I did move the cherry tree to the homestead, and I think it's now past. I don't think I'm going to get cherries, but I love fresh cherries, but for some reason I'm not enjoying my cherry tree right now because it's not giving me anything, and it just looks extremely sad. I fertilized it, I have spoken to it, I have done the rain dance around it, and normally me talking to my plants really does help. Hey, cherries are very hard to please, the same as my apples. Last year my green apple tree gave me like 10 green apples. This year it gave me absolutely nothing, and I gave it more love than I did last year. Another no-no is this project. So we did this project and we put strawberries in it, hoping that it would do very well. It didn't do very well. Everything I've planted in here has literally died. So what we're going to do is that, because the sun really hits this wall and it gets baked, it could be the reason why we weren't getting anything growing. So I'm going to take this pallet and I'm going to actually put it somewhere else where it doesn't get as hot, and see if we have any more luck, because I've seen this kind of product, this kind of project being done, and everybody's raving about it, and everybody says it's done very well, and it's not like the water sits for that. You can see it does drain nicely, and when I put water in it, I can see the water draining. So I think it could be the wall just bouncing off some heat. And then strawberries, I have not been lucky with strawberries this year. All my strawberries have actually not given me anything, to be honest. I've maybe gotten 3 strawberries and that's it. So another yes is blueberries. We have done so many videos on blueberries and harvesting, so we've got a few varieties. Unfortunately, these 3 have not given us any blueberries, and we're going to be moving it. We think the sun is a little bit too harsh. You can see over here that the tips are drying out, and there's some dried leaves there. They definitely get enough water. We deep water it, and We also make sure that if you put your finger here, it is moist, and you can see that the spig moss is moist. So we're going to maybe move these three a little bit more along this wall. Vietnamese coriander is a definite yes. We definitely grow this all the time. We dry it out and we put it in our foods. So another yes is, guys, do compost bins. I've done a video on us building this compost bin, and we've already taken all the beautiful soil and compost that was sitting at the bottom, and we filled up the raised beds. So but what happens here is that you are able to literally slide this off to get to the compost, and it happens all the way down, so we can remove all of this. What we do is that during winter is when all of the leaves we put in here, and all of the rubbish we put in here will just literally stay here, and we will let that all break down until summer. We then go and check it out. We also try and turn it a lot, like once a month, not a lot, but once a month, and that just gives the top portion time to go to the bottom and also break down. And what we do then is that we take all the compost and we put it in our raised beds just to fill it up. So I just want to thank you guys very much for coming around the homestead and letting me share my failures and successes with you. 2025 is going to be amazing. So I hope you guys all have an amazing New Year's and a safe one, and I will see you all in 2025. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you in 2025 in the next video.